Hey guys, this video is going to be a little bit of a delicate topic, about a bit of a delicate subject, but we think it's an important one to address because people that come to Japan may encounter this thing, so that's why we're covering it. We want to first start by saying that, of course, if you come to Japan or spend time in Japan, you will meet some boys and some men who are extremely good communicators and an absolute pleasure to talk to, that are extremely polite and that can teach us about good manners because their level of politeness is so high. So just start by clarifying that there's lots of extremely good communicators, well-spoken, good communicators who are men, who are Japanese, who live in Japan. So just want to clarify that first. But it's also true that you'll also encounter a group that you could call, that are called shy boys, and you'll encounter a group that are also probably shy boys, but could be called rude dudes as well. So just to clarify a couple of things, first of all, the background on this is that Japanese society and Japanese culture still very much put boys and men ahead, and it's a delicate thing to say or an uncomfortable thing to say, but it is true. It is true. If you live here, you can see it. I mean, you only got to watch TV and see the news to see that the government in Japan is totally dominated by men. There's only a couple of ladies in there. Most organisations, the top of most organisations and most companies in Japan are still men. Not always. There is some ladies that are in politics. There is some ladies that run companies in Japan, but the reality is that men still dominate. Men still get paid more than women for doing the same job. We've covered some of these things on other videos before. They put women in uniforms, and the men who are doing the same job wear suits. So the guys are wearing suits and the women are wearing uniforms. They're doing the same job and the guys get more pay than the women. So this is slowly changing, but it hasn't changed yet. So there's that part of society where the men dominate, but there's also kids. If you watch kids, young boys and young girls, their behaviour obviously is different, as it would be in most countries, but the way they're treated is different as well. And it's probably a fair observation that if you watch young boys in Japan, often they are treated like little princes and pretty much allowed to do whatever they want. It's interesting because for a society that's so ordered and has so much discipline in it, when it comes to young kids, usually not so much. So some Japanese people say it's because later in life, from high school on, they'll have a lot of discipline so that the parents want to make their lives easy for them as possible when they're younger, when they're elementary school and so on. So that's what some Japanese people say is the reason for it. But the reality is that they just don't get a lot of discipline. So the young boys can be a bit wild. And where this relates to this video is that what you'll often find happens is, there'll be a young boy somewhere and you'll say hello to him and he'll just look at you and not answer. And this could be because you're a foreigner. I'll just clarify this to start off too, is that sometimes the feeling people have if they're foreigners here is they're getting ignored because they're a foreigner. That occasionally is the case, very occasionally it is the case, but what we're actually talking about here really relates. It's the behaviour that they'll do to Japanese people as well. So, a young boy, a group of people are together, some families or some school group or some people are together, and somebody will say to a young boy, "Hello, how are you?" in Japanese. Some Japanese person will say to the young boy, "Hello, how are you?" and he just won't answer. And then the mother or whoever's there, the person who said hello, everybody that's there will all just go, "Ah, shy boy," and sort of smile and laugh it off. And, he's a shy boy, ha ha ha, and that's the end of it. And nobody says to him, I think some of you guys would agree that, or would have experienced in your lives, maybe in some other families or some other countries, the parents would say, hey, answer the person, say hello, be polite, don't be rude. But here, no. And I'm not talking about 3-year-old boys, I'm talking about 10-year-old boys, 15-year-old boys, 20-year-old boys. And this is what happens. So from when they're young, the teachers and the parents just let it go. And because we've mentioned this before in other videos as well, that the shy boy thing in Japan is considered to be really good. So that even famous music idols and things like that, when they're interviewed on TV, you know, they stand up on a stage in front of 100,000 people and sing songs, so they can't be that shy. But when they're in a studio getting interviewed on TV, they'll be all shy and coy, and it's because being shy, a shy man, they call them shy boys even if they're 40 years old, right? So the Japanese phrase for it is shy boy. He's a shy boy. Karewa, shy boy, isn't it? You know, so shy boy is, and even if he's 40 years old, he's a shy boy, and this is what you'll see. And they're the guys that are popular. You know, they're really well groomed and really pretty guys, and they sit there and they're all shy and they speak quietly, and they're all not. And this again, not always. This isn't always the case, but this is the trend. This is the trend at the moment in Japan, is that guys are shy, and this has been the trend in Japan for quite some time. Is that shy boys are to be admired, and if guys are super confident, like in some societies, some Western societies, you know, confident guys that confident and, you know, is sort of cool, isn't it? You know, the guy's confident and he knows what he's about and he knows what he's doing. Oh wow, isn't he cool? Whereas here, that would be considered to be a bit brash and a bit too loud and a bit too brash and too confident. You know, too much ego would be the way they'd see it, is he's got too much ego and he's too loud. It just doesn't appeal, and it scares a lot of girls. Are scared off by that sort of guy. Hey, how you doing? Whoa, too scary. Whereas if the guy comes into the room and he's all shy and he doesn't talk to the girls, and he sits there quietly and doesn't talk to the girls and doesn't talk to anyone, he's the guy that the girls are interested in. So you can see the pattern, you know, from when they're really small, from when they're really young, that being a shy boy is okay. So when you say hello to a 8-year-old boy and he just doesn't answer, his parents will just laugh and say, "Ah, shy boy, he's a shy boy," because they don't mind. They don't mind that he's a shy boy. It's sort of cool. It's sort of okay. The problem with it is, as they get older, they never learn those social skills. So then you encounter 15-year-old boys and say, "Hello, how are you?" and they don't answer. And interestingly, this is rarely the case with Japanese girls. So you say to a 10-year-old Japanese girl, you know, "Konnichiwa, kyodo," you know, and she'll answer. She'll answer. And a 15-year-old Japanese girl, you know, "Konnichiwa, ohayou gozaimasu," and she'll answer. And occasionally the Japanese guys do too. This isn't the case. Again, just want to repeat this again. This isn't the case with all Japanese guys, but if you come to Japan and spend time here, you will definitely encounter this. That you'll say hello to some Japanese boy or some Japanese man. He might be 30 years old, 35 years old, 50 years old, and you'll say, "Konnichiwa," and they just won't look at you. They just won't look at you. And that can give foreigners that feeling again, that it's because they're a foreigner. And very occasionally it might be, but not usually. And the reason that you'll know this is you'll see it happen that Japanese people will say "Konnichiwa." Another example is at shops. It really stands out at shops, is that as you guys know, the shop assistants in convenience stores and things here are exceptionally polite. And it's quite common to be standing behind some guy in a convenience store, and he'll just put his stuff down on the counter that he's buying, and they'll tell him how much it is, and he'll give them the money, and he'll pick up the stuff and he'll walk out the door. And the whole time they're being really polite to him and saying lots of polite things to him, and he won't say a word. And I'm not talking about occasionally, I'm talking about every day. I guarantee you stand in a busy Japanese convenience store for 15 minutes and you will see this. Guys that will just pick up the stuff off the counter and not say a word, not even domo, you know. It's just too easy just to domo, arigato or something, and not a word. They'll just and the deadpan face, just pick up the stuff off the counter and walk out the door. And so you can see that the group that are shy boys, that are sort of considered, and the group that some of us from, you know, different cultures might consider to be rude, you know, who is what? I mean, in Japan they're only called shy boys, you know. Even the really ones are obviously that by some standards could be considered to be terribly rude. And by Japanese standards too, it's just that they're making an excuse. Because Japanese people are so polite, they're basically making an excuse for that rude person. Because, you know, the people that, if you really get down to it with someone sometime when you experience this, and then you get the Japanese person aside and say, tell me honestly, do you think that's rude? And they'll say, probably. You know, that is probably rude. But he's a shy boy. So they're making an excuse for his behaviour, even though they know it's basically rude too. So it's not good. I mean, the only reason it's not good is because it's interfering with the communication. And I'm not talking about between foreigners and Japanese people. This has got nothing to do with foreigners at all, really. The only reason that we made this video is just so that you're aware of it. Because what can happen is that you can come here and experience this and think that all these guys don't like you because you're a foreigner, and it's not necessarily the case. And of course, if they are shy and they do run into a foreigner, that's even more difficult for them. So they probably don't usually greet other Japanese people either, but when they run into a foreigner, that's even more freaky for them. So, you know, even the really nice guys, and a lot of these guys are really, really nice people, but they've just never learnt the polite social skills to greet someone properly, you know, when someone greets them. and they've never been told that they should, and they just sort of, and I think a lot of them wouldn't even think about it at all. And then any of them that were sort of slightly aware of it just have never learnt the social skills. Because I think you guys would have experienced this when you were kids yourself, you know, that some old person would say hello to you and it'd be all a bit sort of scary, and your parents would say, you know, go on, answer them, say hello, and it's a skill, isn't it? It takes a long time for kids to learn that skill, doesn't it, to be able to say hello. And because they're never taught it, the parents, and I'm just talking about the group that are like this, you know, their parents haven't taught them to do it, their parents haven't made them do it, and the teachers don't make them do it, everybody just laughs. You know, hello, how are you? Oh, you know, they just look away, don't look at you, look down at their PSP, and the parents laugh and go, ah, shy boy. The teachers laugh, ah, shy boy. Everybody laughs, ah, he's a shy boy, ah, that's okay. So, yeah, it's a thing. So the point of this video is don't take it personally. If you find yourself experiencing shy boys and rude dudes in Japan, don't take it personally, because 99.9% chance that he's like that with everybody, and you'll see it for yourself. And if you want to see it, you're only in Japan for a week or something and you want to see it, go to a convenience store, go to a busy convenience store and stand off to one side of the counter for a while, and you'll see it for sure. No doubt about it. So it's unusual. A lot of people are surprised by this because, you know, Japan and Japanese people are famously polite. You know, they're masters of politeness and known all around the world as being extremely polite people. So a lot of people, when they hear this, are really surprised. But it's just the way it is at the moment, you know. Things have gone through changes in Japan where there's different things like this happening that probably 100 years ago would have been unheard of, you know. So anyway, there it was, shy boys and rude dudes in Japan. Told you it was a delicate topic. More videos coming soon.